Thank you for tuning in to tonight's game. Your game is coming up next. But here's some information from the Indiana High School Athletic Association.
6 easy ways to become an MVP. And by MVP, we mean most valuable parent. Like all of us, the parents of high school athletes tend to protect their children from adversity, or they overly involve themselves by advocating for their success. But when they do, they're negating the value of participating in high school sports. Among other lessons, high school sports teach teenagers to take nothing for granted, how to overcome obstacles, and that an extraordinary commitment of time and effort is required in order to reach goals and experience achievement. High school sports also encourage independence and self-sufficiency, attributes that are needed to be successful in life. It's natural for parents to love their children, and it's important to support them in as many ways as possible. With this in mind, here are 6 easy ways that you can be the MVP of your child's high school team. Number 1, attend your children's games as often as possible. Nothing demonstrates interest and involvement more than being there. And be sure to invite Grandma and Grandpa to come along with you. Number 2, cheer for all the kids on the team, not just your own. Here's a test for you. Do you know all the players on your child's team? Could you say hello to them by their first name? Embracing the entire team is a great way to show that your interest is sincere. Number 3, be a resource for your child's team. Does a teammate need help with transportation? Is the team trying to raise money for new uniforms? Is someone needed to organize a pizza party before the tournament starts? Maybe you can help. Number 4, try not to criticize the coach or the officials in front of your child. Hey, you're human, and there may be times when you need to vent, but be careful when and to whom you do it. Criticizing the coaching staff undermines its credibility and tends to put your child in the middle. And games are seldom won or lost because of an official's call. Remember, coaches and officials are objective. Most parents are not. Empower your child to talk with the coach about concerns. Everybody wants more playing time, and understandably so. But encourage your children to have that conversation with their coaches instead of you doing it for them. Giving teenagers the confidence and conviction to speak up for themselves is one of the greatest benefits of participating in high school sports. Number 6, focus on the life lessons your children are learning, not on win-loss records or how many points they're scoring. According to the NC2A, only about 2% of all high school athletes win a sports scholarship, and the average value of it is less than $11,000. But every child will benefit from the lessons they've learned as a result of participating in high school sports for the rest of their lives. It's difficult being the parent of a high school athlete. There's far more emotion and social pressure involved than is ideal. But if you follow these 6 pointers, not only will your children love and respect you, but so will their teammates and coaches. And you might even be named MVP. Thank you for your support of high school athletics in Indiana. Stay tuned now. The Indiana SRN game is next. Indiana SRN, where you're always in the game.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Brebeuf Jesuit Preparatory High School here on the north side of Indianapolis, where we are gearing up for the final match of the season for both of these teams. The Braves playing host to the North Central Panthers. Well, just like the varsity teams want to go out with a bang, the JV teams would like to as well. They're heading for a Game 3. So we're going to step aside while that plays out and come right back to you with volleyball action here on Indiana SRN.
Your home and office make up a big part of your world. Sometimes trying to manage it all on your own can make you feel like you have the weight of the world on your shoulders. And when the weight of the world is on your shoulders, you need a strong back or two to come to your rescue and haul your stress away. You need the College Hunks. Whether it's time to clear some space for new memories, to reinvent the room around you, or to simply pack up and move into a fresh new beginning, you can count on the Hunks to bear your burden so you don't have to. Let us move you today.
There's a tunnel over at the east end of Tennessee called the Cumberland Gap Tunnel. Maybe you've driven through it. It's on a stretch of I-25 heading into Kentucky, and it's well over a mile long. So, what does any of this have to do with God's story? Well, imagine if that tunnel didn't have any lights on the inside of it. You'd get inside the tunnel, and the only moment you'd know you were finally getting close to the end of the tunnel would be when? Right. When you saw the light at the end of the tunnel. The people of Israel had been in a long, dark tunnel for quite a while, where we pick up with the story today. They'd been run out of the promised land, the temple had been destroyed, and they were scattered across a couple of different countries, working as servants for foreign kings. It was dark in the tunnel, and the Israelites had no idea when the tunnel would end. Then, along came a guy named Nehemiah, who was living in Persia, serving their king as a cupbearer. Before every meal the king ate, Nehemiah would test the food first to make sure no one had poisoned it. This was actually common in that time. I'm sure we've all had stressful jobs, but that's just plain crazy. One day a traveler came through Persia and told Nehemiah that some of the Israelites had started returning home to Jerusalem, but the city was in complete shambles. Although they'd managed to rebuild the temple, the walls around the city were crumbling. There was no protection from neighboring armies. With one more attack, Jerusalem might be lost forever. So Nehemiah did a pretty gutsy thing. He asked the king for permission to return to Jerusalem to help rebuild the wall. Unbelievably, Nehemiah was allowed to return home, where he organized a plan to rebuild the walls of the city. Fast. And just 52 days later, the city walls were rebuilt. Not only that, but Nehemiah gathered everyone at the newly rebuilt temple and had their priest, Ezra, speak to the people, reminding them of all that God had done for them over the years. It was then that the Israelites realized that they had fallen far away from God and not lived up to what God had created the nation of Israel to be. So, they decided then and there to turn back to God and turn things around. And they started the process by throwing a huge party to worship God. Things were going pretty well. The temple had been rebuilt, and people were worshiping God. Speaking of temples, there actually is another rebuilding of the temple of sorts coming up in the story, but I'll save the details of that for later. Finally, after hundreds of years, there was light at the end of the tunnel. But what was on the other side of that tunnel remained to be seen.
Hello, my name is Sean Kroll, and I've been a part of the Indiana SRN family for the last 9 years. Last year, we streamed a record 326 sporting events around Central Indiana. All the other guys broadcast basketball and football, but we at Indiana SRN also air volleyball, softball, baseball, and even golf. But we need your help. To continue our mission, please help us by contacting Coach at indianasrn.org. Indiana SRN, where you're always in the game.
If it feels like it's been a while since we started our journey together through God's great story, you're right. In fact, on our first day of A Mighty Source, it was only 41 degrees outside here in Murfreesboro, and some of us were still returning Christmas gifts at Dillard's. It's also been a while since we last left off in the story, and while that gap in time might feel long to us, it's nothing compared to the wait the ancient Israelites had to endure. You see, after years and years of God speaking to the Israelites all the time, God pretty much went silent for 400 years. And a lot happened to the Israelites during that time. After years of being scattered around different countries, most of them had returned home. There was just one problem. The Israelites didn't control Israel. Rome did. Yep, that Rome. The one run by a bunch of guys with George Clooney haircuts. The Caesars. As you can imagine, the Israelites didn't really dig that somebody else was in charge of their country. And from time to time, they even clashed with the Roman government. Thankfully, the Israelites hadn't forgotten their history. A history of God rescuing them over and over again. We here at World Outreach Church have looked at those stories over the past 6 months. It's all those stories, from the beginning of the earth to the books of poetry through the 400 years of silence, that make up what we now call the Old Testament. The next major part of the story, called the New Testament, begins with God breaking his silence in a big, big way. In fact, the story takes a turn so dramatic and powerful that almost every person on the face of the planet uses this point to divide human history. And this turning point isn't an event, it's a person. And you probably know who it is. His name is Jesus. We'll be looking a lot at the life of Jesus in the next few weeks, but suffice to say, when this guy came on the scene, it was a whole new ballgame, a new way of life, and a new way for people to connect with God. Jesus made a way for people to live the lives that God had originally intended them to live, and for God's people to be a blessing to the entire world. By doing all this, Jesus was fulfilling the promises and the prophecies found in the Old Testament. Knowing where Jesus fits into this great history adds so much meaning to the things he did and said. Skipping to the Jesus part is kind of like when you turn on the TV on a Saturday afternoon and there's one of your favorite movies on, but it's already an hour and a half into the movie. Sometimes you just don't even want to watch. Your favorite part of the story might be the ending, but it doesn't mean half as much if you weren't able to see the beginning. That's the New Testament. 27 individual books. 4 of them are directly about the life of Jesus. Another book is about how Jesus' followers started the early church, and the rest of the books are essentially letters written by a few different guys to these early churches, encouraging them and reminding them the truth of who Jesus was and what it meant for them. But in all 27 of these books, it's like the authors make the assumption that the readers aren't just turning on the TV in the middle of the movie. These authors, and Jesus himself, quote the Old Testament hundreds of times and assume that the readers know all about the history, poetry, and prophecy of the Old Testament. And in a few spots that feel like they're a scene out of a time travel movie, people we've seen in the Old Testament actually show up in the New Testament. But more on that later. So, we here at World Outreach Church and the ancient Israelites have finally made it to the New Testament. Something amazing is about to happen.
Piper Group Warehouse has a strong commitment to their clients as their logistics provider. If you would like to discover how you can improve your service levels while lowering your overall cost, Piper Logistics Group can help. Call Greg Piper today at 317-396-3916. Piper Logistics Group.
In today's fast-moving business world, effectively marketing your company takes hard work, creativity, and the right team. With over 40 years of experience, PIP has been enabling companies large and small to find success in achieving their business objectives. We understand the challenges our clients face That's why we have a variety of print solutions suited to fit your every need. Whatever your printing request may be, from a quick turnaround on a company brochure for an upcoming trade show, a direct mail piece that needs to be designed, printed, and mailed, to complex marketing projects, PIP is sure to have the right print solution for you. Nothing grabs attention like a well-crafted sign. It can transform virtually any surface into an eye-catching experience, boosting your marketing appeal. From banners, posters, floor graphics, and window decals, to wayfinding and yard signs. We not only help with sign design and getting it installed, we also integrate them into your overall marketing strategy, designed to help you win. PIP also provides best-in-class integrated marketing solutions to help you make the most out of your next campaign. Our approach to marketing ensures that your strategy is seamlessly executed across all media, online and offline, so your business always looks its best. At PIP, we understand it takes a team to achieve business growth, and that's why we're here to help. Get to know PIP and let us make your world a better place.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Brebeuf Jesuit Preparatory School. I'm Alex Stevens, soon to be joined along by Chris Simmons. We are soon to bring you the matchup between the Brebeuf Braves and the North Central Panthers. They are in the middle of JV game number 3. It's nearing its completion, but we're going to step aside until its completion. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to high school volleyball and watching high school volleyball on Indiana SRN.
Whether or not you've ever stepped into a church before, you've probably seen one of these, a Bible. It's the most read, most translated, most debated, most placed in a hotel room book of all time, and people have been reading it for thousands of years. And yet, for many of us, the Bible can feel really complex and intimidating. I mean, where do we start? And what does an ancient book have to do with everyday life in Murfreesboro, Tennessee? Well, there's a million different ways to start trying to get a better understanding of the Bible. You can read it on your own, study it with others, or even come to a service in Three Crosses or New Harvest Sanctuary to hear people teach about it. Heck, you can even take some classes about the Bible across I-24 at MTSU. But this year at World Outreach, we're going to try something a little different. We're going to dive in and look at the Bible as one great big story, to get to know the characters and storylines like we would if we were watching an epic movie. We're going to take a journey together along the timeline of this great story. Our hope is, in the end, that we'll see the Bible in new ways, that the story would come to life and change us, that we'll find that we truly have a mighty source in the Bible. So sit back, take a deep breath, and get ready, because here we go. The narrative of the Bible starts with God. The Bible is an unfolding drama about God and about what God is doing on planet Earth. The story begins with Earth in chaos and God beginning to bring order to that chaos. Over the course of 6 days, God spoke and our world began to take shape. Each day, God would stop and look at whatever was created, clouds or grass or mountains or raccoons, and think, that's good. The world was perfect, just as God intended it to be. Then, on the 6th day, God decided to make a creature called man by scooping up some dirt from the earth and breathing life into it. God named him Adam. God placed Adam in a garden that was full of plants and animals. Then, God told Adam it was his job to take care of everything in the garden, even to name each and every one of the animals. In the garden were 2 unique trees, the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. God told Adam to eat anything from the garden, except for the fruit that came from the tree of knowledge. As you're probably already aware, the story doesn't end there. At some point, God decided it wasn't good for man to live alone. God wanted a suitable companion and helper for Adam, but nothing else God had created so far did the trick. So God caused Adam to fall into a deep sleep and pulled a rib out of his body, using it to form another creature. God called this creature woman and named her Eve. After doing all this amazing work, God took a break on the seventh day. God gave a special blessing on this day of the week, setting it apart to be different than the other 6 days. Adam and Eve lived in the garden, enjoying a perfect relationship with one another. They lived perfectly with their surroundings, taking care of the earth as God had told them to. And they had a perfect relationship with God, spending time with God each day. Talk about mighty. That's some pretty amazing stuff God did. Not a bad start to the story, huh? Life, for now, was just as God had intended it to be. At the point we left off in the story, everything was going just as God had intended. God had given Adam and Eve a perfect world and a perfect relationship with one another, with their surroundings, and with God. Yep, sounds a lot like today. People getting along, everybody loving God, taking care of the earth. Yeah, not so much. So what happened? Well, a serpent in the garden came to Adam and Eve and tried to convince them to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, the same tree that God had told them not to. The serpent told them that they would be just like God if they ate from it. Well, we don't know what the exact kind of fruit was, an apple, an orange, or a juicy Tennessee tomato. And we don't know for sure whether they believed the serpent or wanted to find out for themselves. The fact of the matter is, Adam and Eve ate that fruit. This decision would change the course of history and had immediate consequences. Adam and Eve couldn't live in the garden anymore, and their perfect relationship with God and each other was broken. From there, things just seemed to get worse. One of Adam and Eve's sons murdered his brother, and their grandchildren did all sorts of wicked things. We're trying to keep it as PG as possible here at World Outreach, so we'll skip over the nastier details, but as the population of the earth grew, evil and wickedness took over. How would things ever get back to the way God had intended at the start of creation? At one point, things got so bad that God was sorry for ever creating humans. You heard that right. God was sorry for making humans. It's in the story. You can look it up. So, God decided to start over by wiping out the entire population of Earth with a great flood. He spared one man named Noah and his family and a bunch of animals that Noah loaded into a giant boat. But soon after the flood, Noah's kids and grandkids started to rebel against God, and some of them even completely forgot about God. Again, these parts of the story are better suited for an audience of 18 and up, but suffice to say, violence and hatred was everywhere. From the look of things, it seemed like there was just no hope for human beings. But God's plan was still emerging. God appointed a special group of people to be a blessing to others and help bring things back to the way they were intended to be. God started this group with one man named Abraham, telling him that God would use his family to bless the rest of the world for generations to come. There was just one problem. Abraham didn't have any children. None. Zero. Which might not have been a problem, except that he was already 75 years old, and his wife Sarah was far too old to have children. Wow. Imagine what it would be like if God told one of the oldest couples in this church that they were going to have a baby. Can you imagine your reaction? Can you imagine their reaction? As difficult to believe and downright silly as the promise seemed, Abraham and Sarah waited for God to make good on it. And sure enough, Sarah actually became pregnant, giving birth to a son they named Isaac, which means laughter. And so it began. Isaac grew up, married, and had twin sons. One of these twins, Jacob, got married and had 12 sons of his own. These 12 sons became the leaders of 12 tribes in this new nation, a nation that would bless all people. God gave this nation a name, Israel. It seems God had a way of following through on a promise, just not always the way Abraham, Sarah, or even we might expect.
If you find yourself confronted by unwanted pests in your home or office, then you need to contact the professionals at Kim Mountain Pest Control. We offer quality pest control solutions at an affordable price. We specialize in ants and termites. We're also available to handle a variety of other pests, including roaches, fleas, and flying insects, as well as rats and mice. Don't wait until pests cause severe damage to your home or property. Contact the team of experts at Kim Mountain Pest Control today.
Okay, let's recap a bit. God had created a perfect world, and humans just kept making a mess of things. Okay, recap over. Actually, God had now chosen a special group of people, the nation of Israel, to be a blessing and make things right in the world again. But it seemed like from the start, this new nation wasn't going to have it easy. The Israelites had moved southwest to Egypt and had grown into a large nation. The king of the Egyptians, Pharaoh, felt threatened that the Egyptians would soon be outnumbered and overthrown by the Israelites. So he made all the Israelites slaves, working long and hard hours for the Egyptians. Some scholars even believe it was the Israelites who built the famous Egyptian pyramids, but not everyone is sure. One thing they are sure of, the Israelites probably didn't build the pyramid over in Memphis. But the threat to Israel went way beyond slavery. Pharaoh eventually made a law that every newborn Israelite boy should be killed. How was God going to use them to bless the world for years to come if none of them were alive? It was during this time that an Israelite named Moses first gets mentioned in the story. Most of us have probably all heard that name before, maybe even seen a movie or two about the guy. Who knows for sure if Moses looked anything like a well-tanned Charlton Heston, but we do know this from the story. Moses was one brave guy. Even though he was an Israelite, Moses had grown up in Pharaoh's courts, living just like one of Pharaoh's own sons. But that didn't stop Moses from taking Pharaoh head on when he was an adult. God had made it pretty clear to Moses what he needed to say. Let my people go. After years and years of living as slaves, Moses demanded Pharaoh let them leave Egypt. It didn't happen right away, and a lot of bad stuff had to happen to the Egyptians before Pharaoh changed his mind. But finally, he gave in to Moses and to God. He let the Israelites go. Well, not so fast. Pharaoh changed his mind pretty quickly, and right after Israel left Egypt, Pharaoh sent his armies to hunt them down. They chased Israel up to the edge of the Red Sea. They were trapped. Once again, on the verge of escaping disaster, the Israelites now stared death in the face. But Moses stretched out his hand, and the waters of the sea parted so that the Israelites could cross. When the Egyptian armies came chasing after, the waters fell back down, and all the Egyptian soldiers were killed. Israel was free. Sure, it's all pretty exciting when we watch Hollywood recreate the scene. But can you imagine actually being there? Watching all that happen in front of your own eyes? Soon after escaping, Israel had trouble finding food and water, so they started to complain. Because of the complaining, God forced them to wander around the desert for 40 years, instead of leading them directly to the land that God had promised to Abraham. Well, watching a bunch of people wander around the desert for 40 years doesn't make for very interesting movies or TV, so we don't often see it. But it's a huge part of the history of Israel, and also proved to be pretty helpful to them. God used Moses to give them instructions on how to best live their lives according to God's ways. Having spent their lives as slaves, the Israelites were just learning how to be God's free people. It was an amazing journey. God led them by a pillar of fire at night and a cloud by day. Eventually, Moses grew old, and shortly before he died, passed on the leadership of Israel to a man named Joshua. When Moses died, the Israelites stood at the edge of the promised land. Their time of wandering was over, but their struggle to survive was only beginning.
We're back live here at Brebeuf Jesuit Preparatory School. Alex Stevens, I am joined alongside by Chris Simmons. We're soon to be bringing you the matchup tonight between the Brebeuf Braves and the North Central Panthers. It's the final game of the season for both these teams, and so that means it is senior night for one of these teams. In this case, obviously, it is for the Braves, and they have two seniors tonight who they are honoring. They are honoring both Abby Richmond and Davia Poitras here tonight, both captains on their respective squad. They've given a lot to this program, quite obviously, taking them to one state final, although coming up short. It's no small feat to make it that far, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, that's something in and of yourself to be proud of and never forget, you know. And they're looking, I mean, obviously it would be very poetic and great to finally capture that elusive state title, one, you know, in their senior years. But this is a really, outside of those two, this is a really interesting young squad, isn't it?
It really is. And beside the fact that being the only two seniors on the squad, there are also only 3 juniors on this 10-body squad for Brebeuf, and yet they've posted a 17-8 record on this season, taking down some pretty big opponents and really fought tooth and nail along the way just to be where they're at today. It's really quite impressive considering they're coming off that state championship run a couple of years ago where they were the state runner-up. It's really quite impressive that they were able to reload not only with such a limited squad, but such a young squad, and also be very talented as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. It's kind of that combination of things where, you know, you're young and inexperienced, but they found a way to grow together, and that's just great for this program, not just for this year, but for the next few years. They're going to be a formidable opponent for anybody that has to face them here in the next few years.
On the other side of the court here tonight, the North Central Panthers coming in with a record of 10-15 here, Chris. It's been something of an up and down season for them. They're very senior heavy, as you've noticed. They have at least 5 that I can see, 5 seniors, but they're really led in part by Kylie Ford, the senior, who has been a really standout outside hitter. She has over 200 kills on the season for them this season, and that leads the team by a wide margin.
Yeah, that's what, you know, you and I were kind of talking about off air, was how valuable Kylie Ford is, and the numbers back that up. It's not just something you say, it's something that's there, that the numbers have proven. As you showed, the margin was wide, over 200 kills, and if I remember right, I don't think anybody else has even triple digits. So you're talking a wide margin, and that's kind of what you need from a senior leader, especially for this team.
Yeah, and it's in no small part by Kylie Ford, but she's also joined in that front line by Journey Moore and Ariel Helm, who really shore up that offense on the front line, really trying to control the point of attack for these Panthers. But one thing I will note, it seems to kind of drop off a little outside of that front line rotation. That's really going to have to be a challenge that they overcome, especially if they want to take down the number 10 3A ranked Brebeuf Braves tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting and tough matchup for the Panthers tonight. It's kind of one of those, almost what you would call maybe like a measuring stick game, to really see where you are. I know it's a little late in the season to have that kind of game, but, you know, going into the postseason, it's nice to be able to see where you match up with a tough opponent on the road, on their senior night, they're going to, Brebeuf's going to come out with a lot of energy here in this game. So it'll be very important and interesting to see if North Central can kind of match that and then maybe even try to take the crowd out of it early.
Yeah, I don't think that North Central is outmatched by any stretch of the imagination. They are, although they're only a few blocks away from here, they're a considerably larger school, and they get more to choose from thus. And so you would generally expect, based on odds numbers, they get more talent coming through their program. And that's really something you have to factor into this, Brebeuf being a much smaller school. But really, just look at the size of the two teams. We've got almost 20 to 10. And so it's really I wouldn't consider it a David and Goliath story by any stretch of the imagination. I just think this is two quality programs really going after it here on senior night in order to see how they might stack up against their respective opponents in the postseason.
Yeah, so I think, as you mentioned, one team's not necessarily overmatched of the other. They're built different ways. As you mentioned, a roster of 20 gives you a lot of options when you're talking about rotations and all that, and a roster of only 10 kind of limits that, and so you're going to rely more on those heavy hitters. So even though Brebeuf, in that department, they are outmatched just by sheer numbers and the number of players they have, they make up for that with the quality of players. North Central builds it a little different ways. They have quantity to come at you, hit you a lot of different ways with a lot of different players. So it's going to be really fun to watch these two teams go up against each other here tonight.
And as an example of that, Brebeuf, although North Central is led in kills by a senior on the outside, Brebeuf is led by a sophomore on the outside in kills by Maddie Siegel. She has just been as important to this squad as any other person on this 10-body roster.
Yeah, and Maddie Siegel, as you mentioned, she's just a sophomore and comes in listed at 5'10", so to have the breakout kind of year from her this year, just really not, again, you talk about not only how important that is for this season, but for what this team is building down the road. And it kind of alludes to how they were able to make it all the way to the state final game a couple of years ago and come back, and now they're sitting here at 17-8 coming into tonight. So that just kind of shows how they do it. This is a program that constantly builds and gets the most, and even maybe some more than what they expected out of their players.
They really do, and you can see the kind of camaraderie that they have here on display as this senior night is really diving into the deep relationships that these two players had with the rest of the team. They really kind of developed that mentor-mentee relationship, as you can see on display, as they played a lengthy thank you video from all the teammates for these two seniors. And you can see just the emotions on the court right now as they thank their seniors for their hard work these past few years here at Brebeuf.
Yeah, and even alluding to that, we kind of saw it on display at the end of the JV game when the whole varsity team came out, and I swear they were cheering louder than the JV team when that game went final, and Brebeuf ended up coming back and winning that JV game. So I think you hit a good point there too, and you talk about how much of a team this is and the camaraderie that not just these seniors show, but just everybody in this program shows, and it's just so much fun to watch.
It really is, and if you just missed it there, I don't know if we caught that, a really nice gesture that you see the seniors at Brebeuf presenting roses to the seniors over on the North Central side. I've always thought that was a great gesture to honor not only your seniors but the opposing team seniors as well, because the kind of work that it takes to be able to play at this level, at the 4A level, at the high 3A level. It is day in and day out grind.
Yeah, you're exactly right. What a great show of sportsmanship. We know that the IHSAA, along with all these other bodies of work when it comes to sports, they promote and want to, show off great examples of sportsmanship, and we see it day in, week out for all of these things that we do here on Indiana SRN and see this great sportsmanship. But that's one I think that is, right up there at the top of the list when you talk about seniors, acknowledging other seniors from the opposing team. It really is a nice, wonderful gesture. And
as you saw on your screen there, that was Abby Richmond there, presented with a signed ball from all her teammates as they honor her tonight. About to get underway here, this matchup between the North Central Panthers and the Brebeuf Braves. We're going to take a quick break, and we will come back with more pregame action here on Indiana SRN.
Boron Homes is proud to present Briar Creek. Beautifully landscaped and maintained, today's manufactured homes provide durable, state-of-the-art housing at prices you can afford. Enjoy the tax benefits of owning, including lower property taxes combined with easy maintenance of renting. Briar Creek, it's truly unique. The only 55-plus manufactured home neighborhood in the Indianapolis area. Located just east of I-465 on Pendleton Pike, near Fort Harrison State Park. Visit Briar Creek today.
How does a good man become even better? By working out? Or by working his way up the corporate ladder? By changing his diet? Or by changing his style? By traveling the world? Or by staying perfectly still? For 300 years, we've helped good men become the best versions of themselves through a dedicated fraternity and by taking an oath to live a life of integrity, service, and brotherly love. Men who are as committed to each other and their families as they are to our noble cause. In the end, we don't just make men better, we make them Masons. Not just a man, a Mason.
In today's fast-moving business world, effectively marketing your company takes hard work, creativity, and the right team. With over 40 years of experience, PIP has been enabling companies large and small to find success in achieving their business objectives. We understand the challenges our clients face. That's why we have a variety of print solutions suited to fit your every need. Whatever your printing request may be, from a quick turnaround on a company brochure for an upcoming trade show, a direct mail piece that needs to be designed, printed, and mailed, to complex marketing projects, PIP is sure to have the right print solution for you. Nothing grabs attention like a well-crafted sign. It can transform virtually any surface into an eye-catching experience, boosting your marketing appeal. From banners, posters, floor graphics, and window decals, to wayfinding and yard signs. We not only help with sign design and getting it installed, we also integrate them into your overall marketing strategy, designed to help you win. PIP also provides best-in-class integrated marketing solutions to help you make the most out of your next campaign. Our approach to marketing ensures that your strategy is seamlessly executed across all media, online and offline, so your business always looks its best. At PIP, we understand it takes a team to achieve business growth, and that's why we're here to help. Get to know PIP and let us make your world a better place.
There's no greater anti-poverty measure than to give a person a job. That helps them start to change that trajectory.
Morales Group is a full-service staffing company that provides temporary labor in the Indianapolis, Central Indiana market.
It was a challenge that was given by my father. He wanted me to give back much more than I had been. Then I realized that when he said more, he wanted me to see how I could give more. And it wasn't just in money, but in time and in services. And that's how the Morales Group was created.
I started off at Morales Group as an intern. I interned for 3 years before going on full-time staff here. What I love most about Morales Group is that big family aspect. I come from a big family in Mexico, and since the company is continuously growing, I feel like there's always a new member of the family that I get to know.
We're willing to give. We're willing to serve others, and we're not expecting something in return.
Come talk to us. We would love to work with you.
We're back here at Brebeuf Jesuit Preparatory School here on the north side of Indianapolis. I'm Alex Stevens, and I'm joined along by Chris Simmons. And Chris, we're bringing you this matchup between the Braves and the North Central Panthers, the final game of this season. The season really just flew by.
Oh, yeah.
And we're on to another great postseason of volleyball where they all strive to make that game up in Muncie, Indiana, where you hail from.
Woo!
On the campus of Ball State. And that's always such a great trip to go up there, to go to Worthen Arena. It was such a great arena. So I remember going there, and it was just so massive, and I did not understand quite fully how big of a deal volleyball is, especially in what they call Munciana. And it was a learning experience abound that year. What is it like for you as a Muncie native on a personal level to be in the middle of volleyball country, and now you're seeing the teams that want to head to where you're from?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny because, going to Ball State, and being around Muncie, we kind of talked about it a little bit. It was kind of in passing because it is a really big thing. Even if you're not the biggest sports fan out there, it is something that is talked about and mentioned. It is a big deal for the city, for the campus, and obviously for the players that do get to make that trip up there. So I kind of knew, but I never experienced it. And then starting here at SRN, definitely hearing about it a lot more, and seeing it firsthand through our broadcast and everything like that. It really is as big of a deal as just about anything else that goes on at the high school level here in the state of Indiana.
Well, the road to Muncie begins next week as sectionals take off. This being senior night for Brebeuf, they honor two of their seniors, those being Davia Poitras and Abby Richmond. It was noted during that senior night festivities that Abby Richmond is now the, I guess you can't call it a franchise, but the school leader in digs for a player here at this long storied program at Brebeuf. So really just a great honor for Abby and her family.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. You mentioned how storied this program is. It's not like this program just started yesterday and we're making up all these records, with this class even. This has been a long time, coming, and so it's really nice. And what an accomplishment for Abby Richmond and her teammates and her family and everybody involved with helping her break and set that new record. I believe the number was about 302 digs from what we heard.
I thought so too.
And I mean, that's just a massive number on a lot of scales.
Yeah, we talk about the storied program here at Brebeuf. Multiple state championship teams here. The most recent coming in 2013. They haven't quite managed to get back to they like we mentioned before, they went to Muncie a couple years ago, fell just short in that game, but really such a great program here at Brebeuf. But that's not to be outdone by the North Central Panthers, who have 5 seniors of their own, who I'm sure got all kinds of great honors back on their last home game, and even got a little bit here tonight as well on Brebeuf senior night.
Yeah, you're right. And you know what? It's sometimes coming into an environment like this kind of hypes up that away team. They want, they get a little more excited. They want to take the crowd out of this one. That's kind of a secondary goal for this North Central team. Obviously, the first and foremost, they want to win, but to do that, they're going to have to take this crowd out of it, because we know that this crowd is going to be loud and proud for everything that Brebeuf does successfully here tonight. So North Central, don't be surprised if they get up for this game. And like we mentioned, it's the last one of the regular season, the kind of final tune-up, if you will, like before the postseason starts, and a good measuring stick contest. All of those things are true here tonight for the visiting North Central Panthers, and so it's going to be really fun to watch this one play out.
Well, let's talk strategy, since we were talking about what North Central needs to do to take the crowd out of this. I personally feel like they need to feed Kylie Ford on the outside. She's been their bread and butter this entire season, and there's no reason for that to stop now.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it. I think she has almost double the second place player on their team in kills. So I won't be surprised at all if 99% of their offensive sets are geared towards getting Kylie Ford a chance for more of those kills. And we talk about that front three. So the nice thing about that is if they're keying in, if Brebeuf, that is keying in on Ford, there are a couple other players that can maybe have that big game to help keep North Central in this and then steal one away from Brebeuf here on senior night.
We'll dive more into the strategy after we step aside for a quick break. You're watching the pregame show here on Indiana SRN.
There's no greater anti-poverty measure than to give a person a job. That helps them start to change that trajectory.
Morales Group is a full-service staffing company that provides temporary labor in the Indianapolis, Central Indiana market.
It was a challenge that was given by my father. He wanted me to give back much more than I had been. Then I realized that when he said more, he wanted me to see how I could give more. And it wasn't just in money, but in time and in services. And that's how the Morales Group was created.
I started off at Morales Group as an intern. I interned for 3 years before going on full-time staff here. What I love most about Morales Group is that big family aspect. I come from a big family in Mexico, and since the company is continuously growing, I feel like there's always a new member of the family that I get to know.
We're willing to give. We're willing to serve others, and we're not expecting something in return.
Come talk to us. We would love to work with you.
We're back here on the north side of Indianapolis. Alex Stevens and Chris Simmons along with you for this matchup between the Brebeuf Braves and the North Central Panthers. As you can see, Panthers on the court right now taking their 7.5 minutes to warm up. And before we took the break, Chris, we were talking about the strategy that the Panthers would need to take down the number 10 3A Brebeuf Braves. I mentioned that they're going to have to feed Kylie Ford. She's been their leader thus far this season on offense, but I don't think it's just that. I think they've got to be really solid up front, and that starts with Ariel Helm up front, the 5'11" sophomore.
Yeah, I think you're right. We talked about that big three, and that's their ideal front line is those three, is Ariel Helm, Journey Moore, and Kylie Ford. And Ariel Helm, just a sophomore coming into a big role here for these North Central Panthers. So I think you're absolutely right that Helm is going to have to also play a big part defensively and up front there because we're expecting to see a lot of attacking from that Brebeuf front line. So Ford, Moore, and Helm are really going to have to be ready defensively as well as offensively.
I think really the great outside hitters of Journey Moore and Kylie Ford are going to really have to attack the corners on the offense. They're really going to have to make players like Abby Richmond and Naja Gaddis to move their feet defensively and be ready, as well as any other defensive specialist that they sub in. You got to get the defense on its heels early so that they have to try and come up with an answer, especially when you're in a hostile environment like this one. It is going to be loud here tonight, Chris.
And that's why I think it's going to be so important for the Panthers to get off to a good start. If they can take a lead in this first set, even and especially if they can get a multi-point lead in the set, that's going to quiet the crowd a bit. That's going to let Brebeuf know, North Central's here to play. We're ready to go. And as you mentioned, it's going to get that Brebeuf defense moving and on its heels, which is exactly what North Central needs to do to steal a win here tonight.
We talked about a little inexperience on the North Central line with Ariel Helm, but Naja Gaddis is a freshman starting at center for the Braves. That is a really tough role for such a young player to fill. You have to make sure your sets are on point for all the sets that you play here tonight.
Yeah, especially when you're not just setting, but you're setting for a really good team that is expecting to win. I mean, they're coming in, we've mentioned it, Brebeuf coming in 17-8 in this game. So, they've been successful more often than not all season, and Gaddis has done a really great job setting those big hitters up from the Braves. So yeah, I'm really excited to watch her and see what she's going to do setting up her teammates here tonight.
Well, we talked about controlling the net, controlling that point of attack. Both these teams have extremely well-polished outside hitters. So I think we're going to see a lot of side-to-side shooting, some really trying to work the sidelines, trying to find the corners. But really, it's probably going to come down to who can control the battle at the net, wouldn't you say, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be one of those breaking or tipping points of tonight's matchup. As you mentioned, both teams have great outside hitters, and when And just like in any sport, when you can match strengths with a team, that kind of neutralizes it to a degree, so you have to find a way to win or to get an advantage other ways. So I think you're right. The battle at the net might be the tipping of the scales either way that determines their winner here tonight.
If we're looking at the height differential for these teams, which sometimes can play a factor, I mean, if you have a 6'3" player on your squad, that's a definite advantage to a team that doesn't have a 6'3" player. If we're looking at the heights for both these teams, I would say based on sheer numbers, North Central has a few more in the in terms of average, a 5'10", a 5'10", a 5'11", but on the other end, Brebeuf has a couple of players that are over 6 feet tall. Jenna Hill at 6'3", Greer Frazier at an even 6 foot. So we can say an inch or two here, not exactly an advantage per se, but this can sometimes come down to a game of inches. And so having a 6'3" player against a team that doesn't have a 6'3" player can really make a difference.
Yeah, that could be a huge factor here tonight, especially right at the net like we were talking about, where that might be where our winner is decided here tonight in such a good, evenly matched up kind of matchup that, having those couple of 6-footers or above can really, put you in the driver's seat if you can use that height to your advantage. So we'll see if Brebeuf is able to do that here tonight, especially right at the net.
And it's just like in basketball, Chris, though, when we talk about sheer height, we talk about the big guys working down underneath, getting the rebound. But I say it every basketball season, rebound's not all about height. Or it sometimes comes down to technique. So really, maybe we can see it come down to which team can really just work the fundamental technique better than the other, and that is some fine hairs to split right there.
Yeah, and as a shorter person, anytime I was on the basketball court, and everybody was always surprised when I could get a rebound, but it's about technique and placement and all that, and it can be, as you mentioned, applied here tonight in this volleyball matchup, that just because you're taller doesn't guarantee that you're going to time your jumps right, that you're going to get your sets and your spikes right where you need them at the right time. So it still comes down to those fundamentals and those techniques. So it's not as if North Central should be feel down about themselves that they can't exactly match up height to these Brebeuf Braves. They just know that they're going to have to play a step better with their technique and with their fundamentals, that's going to come into a big play here tonight.
Let's talk briefly about what Brebeuf needs to do to get a win here on senior night. We talked briefly about how North Central. Now let's talk about Brebeuf. And really, I think the outside hitters are just so athletic all around when it comes to Brebeuf, and they've got some big bodies up the middle. I think it's going to come down to the fine execution for Brebeuf. Can people like Nasia Gaddis and Abby Richmond set up their team to be successful on offense? Because let's face it, Chris, a good set is necessary for a good spike.
Yeah, a good set can pretty much make or break just about every offensive possession, if you will. In this, if the set's off, even by just a fraction, then your whole game plan kind of, and we've seen it, your whole game plan kind of goes out for that play where, if the set's off a little bit, you have to scramble and run around and just try to, regather yourself and get the ball over the net instead of setting, yourself up for a good attack, for a kill. So you're right. I think the setters are going to be really important. Abby Richmond, as a senior, a captain, a leader on this Brebeuf team, is going to have to be a leader on and off the court, tonight. Be vocal, be loud. They're going to have to, talk a lot and be just, move as a unit, as a team. And they've won 17 games so far this year, so they know how to do it. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think Brebeuf is just going to have to definitely not overlook North Central either. There's no reason to come into this game on senior night and feel like you've already got it in the bag. You cannot overlook this opponent. Their record is not indicative of the talent level that they're going to face. And as we mentioned, the roster kind of is a 2-to-1 favor in favor of North Central. So they're going to see a lot of different bodies and a lot of different looks, and they got to be ready. Brebeuf, that is going to have to be ready for a lot of different stuff here tonight.
Getting down into the more technical aspect, I would say that aside from Kylie Ford, Brebeuf really has the greater selection in terms of athletic outside hitters. They really can go at you anywhere. But if there was an equivalent to a Kylie Ford on this Brebeuf Brave squad, I would have to get it to number 1 on the outside, Maddie Siegel, 5'10" sophomore. She has just been dynamic for this offense the entire season, amassing over 200 kills for them, and she has not shown any signs of stopping soon.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, only a sophomore with over 200 kills, that's just gotta, if you were a coach on Brebeuf's team, that's just gotta make you so happy, regardless of the outcomes of any games or anything like that. It's gotta make you just kind of smile ear to ear, knowing in your back pocket you've got this young, dynamic player that's going to be, with your program hopefully for the rest of this year, obviously, and the next 2 years. And so that's something really to, as if you were a coach, to really, take pride in that you have her on your team and never have to go against her.
Yeah, really, but it's also not just Maddie Siegel. That's the great thing about this team. They really spread the love around. A couple other players with over 100 kills as well. It's really, really a team effort for this Brebeuf squad, and that's what you want. Is a team effort every single win here, especially when you're playing at such a high level. I really am impressed by the leaders at the front line, like Davia Poitras, and as well as Jenna Hill, really, really commanding that front line, showing the younger players exactly where they need to be in order to be successful. And they've really just done a great job at shoring up that entire offense, making sure it keeps the defense off balance, making they employ a lot of fake attacks on their offense. I don't know if you've ever witnessed one of those done expertly well, but it's so tough to defend when one attacker acts like she's going for the ball, but it goes to another attacker. Very, very tough to defend. So we will see that on display here tonight. It's really going to be interesting to see. Really, I think a key factor for both of these squads is going to be that backline defense. Both of these squads are going to try to out-finesse the other with their attacks. They're both going to be looking side to side, cross-court for their kills. So that really comes of a matter of who can shore up that back door, who can swing around and get that dig. We're going to take a quick break for the national anthem, and when we come back, we'll have volleyball coming your way on Indiana SRN.
Never miss a big game by downloading the IHSAA TV app for free on any device. For your iPhone or Apple TV, check the App Store. On your Android or Android TV device, load up the Google Play Store. Have a Roku or Amazon Fire Stick? We have the app for you. Check us out on Facebook Live, Twitter, or YouTube Live by searching for IHSAA TV. Or as always, click to IHSAATV.org for quick and easy access to your favorite IHSAA live and archived events.
Becoming a licensed sports official is a great way to make a positive difference in the community and support the over 160,000 Indiana student athletes that participate across 22 IHSAA sports. Sports officiating allows you to stay connected to the game, become a role model for our young student athletes, earn extra money, and support the patrons and communities of our IHSAA member schools. To learn more about becoming a licensed IHSAA official, log on to ihsaa.org/officials today.
Want to know what I like best about playing basketball for my high school? I like it because it's a place where my friends get to see me play. I like it because I'm playing for someone besides myself. I'm playing for everybody in my school and every person in my community.
Indiana high school sports. They're more than just a game.
Come and see me play.
Hi, I'm Matt Wolford, president of the IHSAA Foundation, and we need your help. We need your help so the youth of our community can develop advanced leadership skills. We need your help giving high school administrators and coaches the instruction and insight they need to be better role models and teachers. To learn more or to make a tax-deductible contribution, go to IHSAAfoundation.org. You'll not only be contributing to the foundation of the IHSAA, you'll be contributing to the foundation of our community.
We are moments away from getting underway here at Brebeuf Preparatory School. I'm Alex Stevens. Joined alongside me is Chris Simmons. They've just finished introducing the starting lineups, and as you can see, we have a meeting of the minds in the middle. Quickly going through the starting lineups, Chris. First, for the North Central Panthers, they'll be starting Ford, Morin-Helm at the middle, naturally. Then Hilton, Murray, and Stoltz on the back line. For the Braves, they're starting Maddie Siegel, Naja Gaddis, Greer Frazier, Delaney Seaman, and Davia Poitras, as well as, I forgot to mention, Sydney Robinson, also there on the outside. Any final thoughts here as we get underway, Chris? Are you excited? Are you feeling like it's going to be a close one?
Yes and yes. I'm very excited, and I do actually think this is going to be a close one. I know we've got a 4A team versus a 3A team, but it's a really, really tough 3A team in Brebeuf. As you mentioned, a top 10 team in Brebeuf. And I think, both teams want to end the regular season on a win, on a high note as you head into next week when you start, the road to Muncie. So I think both teams really want, for different reasons, to come away with a win here. Brebeuf obviously wants to win in their senior night. North Central wants to kind of take that momentum away from Brebeuf, shut this crowd down early, and get into it. So this is going to be a tough battle, I think, and a lot of fun to watch.
Abby Richmond, as you saw, checking in for Delaney Seaman on the right side. Richmond playing the libero position. As on the other side, Nia White checking in on the back line for Ariel Helm. It looks as though Brebeuf will be starting to serve first, and we are just about ready for some volleyball. Serving first will be Greer Frazier for the Braves. And here we go. Looking to set up an attack on the far side by Ford. She just knocks it over. Brebeuf setting up the middle. It's a tap from Robinson that is dug out by North Central. Ford now cross court. And there's that cross-court action we mentioned in the pregame, Chris.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We saw it. We knew we were going to see it a lot. Not sure if we were expecting to see it right away like that, but it was a perfectly well-executed cross-court attack by North Central, and they lead 1-0.
Stoltz back to serve for the Panthers. She sends it away. Dug out by Richmond. Looking to set up on the far side. That's Poitras, and she gets the kill.
Brebeuf answers right back, going to their senior Poitras on the outside. And instead of going cross-court, she just flirts with that line on the far side and is in. Ties it up at 1.
Schumacher checking in. She'll take the serve from Robinson. Sends it across. Bit of a mishandle by North Central. They keep it alive. Good effort on the back end by White. Sent on across. Setting up Poitras up the middle, and she has another kill.
And that time, Poitras just went right at the net, went basically straight down, and North Central just didn't have a chance really to block that one back over to the other side and instead of blocking into the net.
Schumacher still serving. Good line drive serve. Setting up on the near side, it's a tap that's blocked, sent back to North Central. On the far side, it's Ford. Up the sideline, good save by Richmond, the senior. Sent back to the North Central side. It's a setter dump, well read by Poitras. Looking to set up an attack by Siegel. It goes off the block and out of play. A kill for Maddie Siegel.
Yeah, Siegel, a nice job there, just high-pointing that attack and able to just kind of power it through the North Central defense for the point.
3-1, Braves in front. Bit of a mishandle, and that'll fall for our first service ace, Schumacher.
Yeah, great there going after number 9. That's Sydney Murray, who mishandled that serve.
And this serve goes into net, so a service ace followed by a service error, and we have some substitutions for North Central as Aaliyah Becker checking in, as well as Georgia Trisler. Trisler will take the serve. 4-2 Braves. We're still in game number 1. Sent on across. Dug out on the back line by Brebeuf. On the far side, that's Seaman with the attack. And it goes out of play.
Yeah, they tried that cross-court one, and that one just sailed just enough to go out of bounds. Make it 4-3 still in favor of Brebeuf.
Service is across. Brebeuf setting up the middle for Poitras, and what a good strike by the senior on senior night, Davia Poitras.
Yeah, Poitras read that one perfectly, and I think she kind of purposely held back just a little bit to take a little bit off it, almost like throwing a changeup when you're expecting the fastball, and it worked to perfection.
Sophia Weber checks in to serve. North Central looking to get something going. It's a play at the net, and it's won by Poitras. Taking a look at that Poitras attack. As you can see, she kind of glanced off the side of the ball, got it to change directions at the last minute, like a changeup, like you said, Chris. 6-3 Brebeuf, make it 7-3 after the ace.
Yeah,
Coach Brudresang calls timeout after that run by Brebeuf. And Brebeuf really jumping out to a great run here, Chris, and they're doing it with the outside hitting as well as the leadership up front of Poitras.
Yeah, it's almost like they listened to our pregame and knew what they had to do. I'm sure they were coached up beforehand and knew what to do before us, but we'll take a little bit of the credit. But you're right, it was the outside hitting that's been a factor so far, and their play at the net, especially by Poitras, has been pretty much flawless so far early on in this first game.
North Central's got to really contend. There's a lot of height advantage there on the net for Brebeuf when they have the right people in. So they have to be really active at the net and really position themselves well for success. I feel like the mishandles on the back line aren't doing them any favors, Chris.
You're exactly right. The couple of mishandles in the back have led to service aces, 2 of them for the Braves.
Service is across. This time it's well handled by North Central. A near side attack by Ford, cross court. Nice dig there by Richmond. Another one for her. This attack is blocked but dug out by Brebeuf. The free ball sent across. North Central looking to set forward on the far side. She is just a little too strong on that attack.
I was waiting to see if they were going to say if any Brebeuf player touched it near the net, but they say no, and it just sails out of bounds. Point for Brebeuf.
Kylie Ford definitely thought there was some contact there. No dice. Setter dump from North Central. Well read by Brebeuf. This time it's Siegel on the attack, and Siegel gets the kill. Just a little push on the near side.
And that's just catching that defense, just getting out of position because you've got them moving around so much. And, just an easy dump into the open area in the middle of the floor.
Still serving for the Braves is Sophie Weber. And it skips on over. Good dig that time on the front line by Helm. Back row attack is across. Now Brebeuf up the middle. And now we have a net violation coming against Brebeuf. That was Poitras.
Yeah, the only error really so far for Brebeuf is Poitras just got in there a little early, I think, and just barely got into the net.
9-4 Brebeuf in front here in set number 1. Ford back to serve for the Panthers. Skips over. Well read by Brebeuf. Looking at a near side attack, and it falls on the other side of the net and out of play. An error that time on Brebeuf.
Yeah, an error by Brebeuf, but it almost turned into a perfect play as it was really close, to almost hitting that line, and it just sailed perfectly over the net, but an error nonetheless, and now it's 9-5. North Central getting back into it.
Bit of an overpass, and it's sent over, but nice diving dig by that time by North Central. Now on the near side, it's Siegel for the kill. What a great effort, though, on the dig by Nia White for North Central. A diving dig kept that alive, but then ended by a nice strike by Maddie Siegel.
Yeah, Siegel did a great job there. Again, at the net, the play at the net has been great so far for Brebeuf.
Ball sent back to the Brebeuf side, now back to the North Central side. Couple of overpasses there. Now on the near side, this is an attack by Becker that's read by Brebeuf. And now again, Siegel has her attack blocked, but Brebeuf was ready for it. Siegel again. This time dug out by Ford on the back line. Looking to the far side. Attack by Murray. Was there a touch? No, they say, out of play.
Yeah, the couple of times they've tried to really attack the back line and the back corners North Central has, they've sailed on them, so they're going to have to reel those in and try to get those inbounds.
This time, the strike by Murray is true as she finds that back line.
Yeah, that was perfect. There's almost no defense for that placement of that hit.
That was an absolute missile off the hands of Sydney Murray. As White goes back to serve, and it's too far for a service error.
Yeah, so again, just trying to attack that back line, and they're going to keep doing it, and they're all right.
Maddie Siegel taking her first crack at serving. Sends it across. North Central going to set up for a far side attack. Cross court dug out by Richmond, but no one can get to it. I think two Brebeuf players collided there on the dig attempt.
Yeah, and that's where, communication is just so key in this sport where you've got to, it's tough, but you have to call out, I'll dig it, I'll do all this. It's really tough to do that.
Journey Moore and Sophia Helton checking in for the Panthers, and Helton will take the serve. Dug out by Richmond. Bit of an overplay, but nice set that time by the freshman, Naja Gaddis, right at the net. She sets up the perfect strike up the middle.
And that's what she's done all year. That's why they've relied on this young freshman, as you mentioned in the pregame, how important that the setter position is and how great it is to see a freshman stepping up at the varsity level and doing it so well. We've seen it early and often in this one.
So now North Central setting up for a back row attack. That glances off the block. Nice diving dig by Gaddis. Now on the far side. This time that one's not coming back. That's Sydney Murray again.
And Sydney Murray has just repeatedly attacked that back line. And I love the confidence that she's showing in getting her shot down there.
And now she earns the chance to serve. Jump serve send across. Dug out by Siegel. Setting up attack up the middle, which is blocked, but well read by Brebeuf. Now on the near side, it's Robinson over the block for the kill.
Wow, just no panic from that Brebeuf defense once the block came back. They just set up and got another kill, and that one, the second time it lands and gets them the point. They lead now 14-8.
And back to serve as we've gone through a full rotation. It's Greer Frazier, and her serve goes into the net. Still a 5-point advantage for Brebeuf. We're still in set number 1, as now Ariel Helm takes a spot on the front line. Lauren Stoltz sends it across, dug out by Richmond. Looking to set up a back row attack. Gets over. Now forward on the outside. Nice dig that time by Richmond. Richmond will try to send it across. Remember, she has to stay planted there. Tough to get those attacks across sometimes. Abby would prefer you didn't talk about that one.
And then we won't. That's fine. We'll move on.
14-10. Stoltz sends it over. Dug out by Robinson. Gaddis setting up a tap, that time off the hands of Seaman. Now Ford on the far side. A nice little tap over the defense. She took something off at that time and caught him backpedaling.
Yep, that's a perfect timed tap just over the outstretched arms of that frontline defense, and that's what you have to do when you're facing a frontline that's taller than you as well.
Stoltz sends it over, dug out by Richmond. Looking to set up the middle, Delaney Seaman, and her attack is too strong, and all of a sudden the lead is just 2.
And this is what we talked about. We figured it was going to be a closely fought match. North Central didn't come out of the gates the way they wanted, but they didn't panic. They set it, and they're now just getting into their groove, and it's just a 2-point deficit when it was about 6.
Stoltz lifts this one across. It's dug out by Richmond. Looking to set up Poitras on the far side, and a good strike by Davia Poitras to get her team back on track.
Yeah, what do you do when you give up 4 straight points? You lean on your seniors, and that's exactly what Brebeuf just did there, feeding Poitras once again, who's been excellent in this first set.
Bella Schumacher coming in to take the serve. And it's dug out by the back line of North Central. Looking to set up forward on the far side, off the block and dug out. Brebeuf setting up Siegel, and Siegel gets the kill as that went scorching into the rafters on the dig by White, but out of play.
It was a great effort on the dig there. It must have just caught her hands perfectly to rock it up into the rafters and out of bounds.
The lead is back to 4 for the Braves. Schumacher sends it across, dug out by Ford. White to set up Ford, back row attack, dug out by Brebeuf. Now up the middle, it's Poitras, and a missed strike that time by the senior.
Yeah, I don't know if she just jumped earlier than even she expected to. Just something wasn't right in the timing, and that's what timing is so important in this sport. And we just saw it on display right there, where if you're off just a step, just a moment, then you're out of it.
Trisler and Becker check in as Trisler will take the serve. And now Brebeuf looking to set up Siegel on the near side, but in the net on North Central. It will be a point for Brebeuf. It was on Ariel Helm.
Yeah, just another error there from North Central. They've made a few in this first set. Otherwise, it's been a really clean game.
Sent across by Weber. Bit of a mishandle on the North Central side. They somehow get an attack off. And now on the far side, it's Poitras for the kill. Poitras really commanding that front line here tonight.
She really has been, and Brebeuf is not afraid to just keep feeding her, and why would they stop? She's been nearly perfect here tonight so far.
as the lead is back to 5. And looks like we have maybe some sweat on the court of some kind. Yeah, that's more than likely what's going on here as the towel comes out. Someone probably slipped in there and want to get that taken care of before anything worse happens.
Yeah, absolutely the right thing to do. Just clean it up, move on, and here we go.
Sent on across. Brebeuf looking to set up an attack. It's going to be Ford on the near side. Good strike. That's dug out by Schumacher. Now Schumacher will send it over, and tried to get batted down there by Ariel Helm, but a misfire on that overpass, and it's 19-13. Brebeuf ahead in set number 1, and the second timeout taken by Coach Boudrasang. Really, Brebeuf has responded to that counterpunch by North Central and gone on a little run of their own to get that lead back to where they felt comfortable.
Yeah, it was 14-8, and North Central cut it to 14-12, and now a 5-1 run by Brebeuf has gotten that lead back up to a comfortable 6 points, and they've done it by leaning on their senior Poitras up at that front line. As you've mentioned, she has just been phenomenal to watch in this first set up at that front line.
Not only that, but the setting by Gaddis and occasionally Robinson has been just spot on. And it's no wonder that they have the freshman starting at setter. That is some impressive work by the more inexperienced player.
And even the one time we saw Poitras miss on a kill attempt, it wasn't because the set wasn't there. I think she just mistimed it a little bit herself. So the setting has been flawless for Brebeuf, I think, in this first set.
No more timeouts for North Central here in this first set. They're looking to set up an attack on the far side by Becker. Off the block and dug out by Richmond. Now on the near side, it's Siegel. What a strike by Maddie Siegel, the sophomore.
That was a perfectly placed strike by Maddie Siegel. That was unreal to watch, actually. I'm a little speechless after that one. That was perfect. That's exactly how you draw that up.
North Central looking to respond. It'll be a back row attack by White. And it finds the line. So a bit of a break there for the Panthers.
Hey, so, the old adage is sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. And there was a little bit of luck in that one. But also, where does luck come from? Practice. So you practice hitting that line, and every now and then it'll work. And that was just a great bounce there for North Central to trying to get them back into this first set.
Ford sends it over. Brebeuf looking to set up Siegel at the 10-foot line, looking for the middle. Nice dig that time by Ford. Sent back to the other side. Brebeuf looking to set up Siegel again. Off the net. Nice dig by White, but it goes careening into the stands.
The effort has been there for North Central all first set. They've made a couple of errors, and Brebeuf has just gone on a couple of runs and made the plays and hit the lines. It's been a really well-fought first set.
North Central, back row attack by Ford. Brebeuf. Good block there, but someone was in the net. And it looks like it's going to be called against Sydney Murray to make it 22-14. Back to serve for the Braves is Richmond. Good knuckling serve, gets across. Now off the hands of Murray, too strong.
But once again, Murray attacking that back line, not afraid to go for it, not afraid to try to get it there. Almost got it on that one.
Services across, dug out by Ford. Moving this up on the near side, this is Helm, but again, too strong. That sets up set point for the Braves.
Yeah, if North Central can corral themselves and really hit some of those back lines, we're looking at a much different score so far.
This serve is too strong off the hands of Richmond. I think she was just a little too amped up there as she tried to really loft that one high in the air for that jump serve. White sends it over. Brebeuf setting up Siegel at the 10-foot line, dug out by White. On the far side, this is Murray with the tap and the kill.
That tap can be deadly, as I mentioned, especially when you're going up against a taller front line. That's the way to attack it is if you can get them to jump just that half step early, you can just touch pass right over them.
White lobs it over. Setter dump. Almost caught them napping. Did it hit the ground? Yes. Yes, so that will be a kill for the setter, Gaddis, and that is how the first set comes to a close. 25-16, the final in the first set. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have more high school volleyball action here on Indiana SRN.
I think the best thing that our ministry offers is that when the women come in and they are pregnant and they've reached our scan dates, which are 6 weeks, 4 days to 14 weeks, we're able to image them with ultrasound.
Seeing the image on the screen and hearing a heartbeat clarifies that it is truly life and not just a clump of cells.
You can see babies sucking their thumbs. You can see them running their hands over their head.
It shows them what God is doing on the inside that they don't feel or don't even think is real, but they see a real image of a real baby on the screen.
It just breaks my heart when a woman, no matter what her circumstances are, that she decides to end that intrauterine pregnancy, that she decides that she's better to go on her own without that baby.
First set is in the books as Brebeuf takes it 25-16 the final. And really, they just pulled away in the second half of that. North Central came with a little bit of a counterpunch, but I think Brebeuf responded really well, really closing the door on that one, Chris.
Yeah, North Central had cut it to 14-12, and then to finish off the set, it was an 11-2 run there by Brebeuf. And as we kind of talked about in that break, Brebeuf just looks really, really polished on both ends, offensively and defensively. They just look really, really good in that first set. And I think North Central kind of got in their own head maybe a little bit, made a couple of errors that I think maybe might have let get to them a little bit. So they're going to need to regroup for this second set. And because they proved that there are a handful of times that they can go right up with this Brebeuf team and they can go point for point with them. But, the errors and the long shots going for the back line, I think really kind of hindered where that first set went.
One note I'm going to give, Chris, is I felt like North Central got a little too predictable on their offense. They started feeding that far side just exclusively. They weren't mixing up their attack at all whenever they got a good attack off. It was always coming from that far side. It was always coming from at a cross court. And really, I felt like aside from the opening minutes of that set, Ford really just could not get herself going.
Yeah, and that's just more credit to Brebeuf for recognizing that early. As you mentioned, that it was always exclusively the attack coming from that far side. So Brebeuf adjusted and was ready for that. And we'll see if North Central has a different strategy for the rest of this match, because as you mentioned, if they're going to be that predictable, well, I won't be surprised if Brebeuf is still ready for them the rest of this way.
So starting lineups, just to remind you, are Siegel, Gaddis, Richmond, Frazier, Robinson, Seaman, and Poitras. I know that's 7, but Richmond, the libero, has checked in. And for North Central, they're starting Ford, Moore, Helm, Murray, Helton, and Stoltz. And White is the libero checking in. We're underway here, and it looks as though, it's going to start with a service ace off the hands of Sydney Murray.
Yeah, one of the very few almost errors from Brebeuf so far, as that was a really great serve. I don't want to take it away from North Central, but Brebeuf just misplayed that one a little bit.
This time Richmond digs it out, setting up the middle, cross court, and it was just a little too strong. Yeah, there we go. So there was a bit of confusion there on the second official pointing the wrong way, but no, it is going to North Central. It's 2-0 North Central.
Yeah, Brebeuf tried to attack that back line just like North Central did in the first set, and they're just a little strong on that first attack.
Murray sends it over, dug out by Brebeuf. Looking to set up the middle for Robinson, and Robinson gets the kill. Sydney Robinson, the freshman, up the middle.
Yeah, that almost looked like one of those fake attacks, as you mentioned, as they set up one, and it looked like they were setting up one, and instead it went to Robinson, and North Central was not ready for that one.
And now Richmond back to serve, sends it across, dug out by Murray. Looking to set up forward on the near side, off the block, dug out that time by Siegel. Now Robinson on the far side, blocked out of play. Another kill for Robinson. She's 2 for 2.
And just like that, back to 2. Knotted up at 2 here in the second set.
2s all around as Richmond will get this volley underway. Bit of an overpass by North Central, and they can't dig it out of the net.
Yeah, just a little off there, trying to dig that one out on that overpass. And Brebeuf takes their first lead of the second set.
Murray gets it up this time. Now it's, couldn't tell who that was on the far side. That was Journey Moore. It's dug out by Brebeuf, and they send it back across. Now forward on the near side. Cross court, dug out by Richmond. Bit of an overpass. It's punched across by Gaddis. And now a 2-touch going to be called against, I believe that was Nia White. And she just couldn't quite get her hands on top of that ball. 4-2 Braves as Richmond sends it into the net to make it 4-3 Braves.
Yeah, really, not what we're used to seeing. An error from Brebeuf, a couple of them early on in this set. To see if North Central can go on a run of their own and take advantage.
I'm already seeing they're trying to mix up their attacks a little bit more, not exclusively going to forward on that near side. Gaddis looking to set up Robinson. That's blocked. Dug out by Brebeuf. Now Poitras on the near side, cross court. Dug out that time by Helton. And now a punch coming from Moore. But Brebeuf reads it and sends it back across, and it's going to be a kill for Delaney Seaman.
Yeah, great attack there by Seaman as Stoles tried to corral that one, but instead it rolls off her fingertips, goes backwards, and no one's there to dig that one out. Point Brebeuf.
Schumacher sends it across for the Braves. On the far side, this is Moore again. Dug out by Brebeuf. Tap by Siegel, and Siegel will get the kill.
Great reaction there from Siegel, getting that one over, kind of a desperation tap to get it over, and it was just perfectly placed where North Central really couldn't get anything out of it.
6-3 Braves. Schumacher sending it across. It's dug out by Murray. Bit of an overpass again. Poitras tried to send it down, but now I recall it looks as though a backcourt attack. Yes, it is an illegal back row attack that time. So a point will go to Brebeuf. I didn't see who the guilty party looks. Looks like it could have been Ford. As this service goes into the net. And substitutions coming for North Central as Trisler and Becker will check in. Trisler taking the serve. Becker a spot up front. Trisler sends it across. Looking to set up Poitras. Oh. A quick strike by the senior makes it 8-4.
There's just no defense for that perfect set and perfect kill, for Gaddis to Poitras.
North Central trying to respond. This is Becker on the near side, and Becker gets the kill.
That's how you respond. You just send one right back at them. They hit you with a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. You hit them with a 101-mile-an-hour fastball. And what a great response there from North Central.
No joke, Chris. Is now Ford serving for the Panthers. Dug out by Richmond. Gaddis to set up Siegel. Cross court. Nice dig that time by North Central. That was Murray. Murray now on the attack, and this one's too strong.
Yeah, Murray that time, instead of trying to go for the back line, thought she would go cross court. Almost had it, but again, just a little too much arm on it, and it sailed just out of bounds.
Poitras is back to serve for the Braves. And it's dug out by White on the back line. This is Murray. No, excuse me. That was Helm going cross court, and it's too strong.
We got I mean, I like the attacks from North Central, trying to hit those lines as we talked about, but it seems more often than not they just tend to sail a little bit.
This one's dug out by White. Setter dump, well read, and another back row attack coming on North Central. So that'll give another point to the Braves. Someone's coming too far forward. There's something going on there, Chris.
Okay.
On the near side, that's Murray, dug out by Brebeuf. Siegel has her attack blocked. Well read that time by Schumacher. Siegel again over the block. Nice diving dig that time by Trisler. Sent back to the Brebeuf side. Siegel up the middle. This one's blocked. Blocked by the tandem of Helm and Becker.
And that's probably the best point we've seen for North Central in a set and a half now is that really was a big battle back and forth that looked like it could go either way, and North Central just stayed in it and finally got the kill.
White sends it across. Gaddis setting up Frazier that time. And it was too strong, out of bounds on Frazier. Here's a replay of the last block, and what an impressive stand that time by Helm and Becker. White lobs it across. Looking to set up Siegel off the block. And it's a setter dump. Oh, what a dig that time by White. A diving pancake dig by Nia White. And now this one is blocked out of play for a point for the Braves. What a dig by Nia White. I have not seen one of those in quite a while.
And as we mentioned, just the effort has been there for both sides so far, but wow, that's probably the best effort play we've seen tonight.
Siegel sends it across, dug out by Ford. Looking to set up Murray, and it's dug out by Richmond. Now Robinson on the far side, and she got too much sauce on that one.
I wonder what kind of sauce.
Hot sauce.
Hot sauce, there you go, yep. Any hot sauce is too much hot sauce.
Maybe for you.
Yes.
Journey Moore and Sophia Helton checking in for the Panthers. It'll be Helton to serve. Helton lifts it across. It's dug out by Siegel. Looking to set up the middle. Nice little push and a kill for Greer Frazier. Looking for that back corner, and she found it.
That's just a perfectly placed little finger push there that had a little more sauce on it than I expected coming off the fingertips, honestly.
Sophie Weber checking in on the front line for the Braves. North Central setting up a back row attack. This one coming from Moore. Now the Braves responding with Robinson, and Robinson gets the kill. And the Braves have reached another 6-point advantage.
Yeah, they've been on it most of this set. Have done a really good job containing North Central. But North Central's hanging in there.
Gaddis sends it across. North Central trying to get something going. And that is off the hands of Journey Moore for the kill. Journey Moore with the kill. Cuts the deficit to 5. And Murray is back to serve for the Panthers. Sent across, dug out by Siegel. Bit of an overpass, but Gaddis tracks it down for an attack by Seaman. And Seaman gets the kill.
Yeah, way to corral that overpass, and what looked like it might be a bad break for Brebeuf. They stay poised, stay in control, and are able to set up a nice kill from Seaman, and she's able to get the point. 15-9 now.
Ellen Wiegand checking in for the first time, and they go right after Wiegand, and it's a service ace for Abby Richmond.
Not just right at Wiegand, but right at her ankles. That was a perfectly low serve.
Right on top the shoelaces.
There you go.
White, bit of a mishandle, and it's another one. Actually, that won't go down as a service ace because it went over the net. But regardless, it's a point for the Braves and a timeout for Coach Boudrasang. We will take it with him. You're watching high school volleyball on Indiana SRN.
Hello, my name is Sean Kroll, and I've been a part of the Indiana SRN family for the last 9 years. Last year, we streamed a record 326 sporting events around Central Indiana. All the other guys broadcast basketball and football, But we at Indiana SRN also air volleyball, softball, baseball, and even golf. But we need your help. To continue our mission, please help us by contacting Coach at indianasrn.org. Indiana SRN, where you're always in the game.
We're in set number 2, where the Braves have a 17-9 advantage, already winning the first set 25-16. Brebeuf has been nearly perfect on their execution, as a service error off the hands of Richmond will make it a 17-10 game.
Yeah, not quite what Brebeuf was looking for coming out of that timeout, but still holding a 7-point advantage.
This one's dug out by Robinson. Gaddis up the middle, dances on the net. Well read that time by Moore. Now a tap by Ford, dug out by Gaddis again. Richmond looking to set up an attack by Seaman. And this one is blocked, a solo block for Ariel Helm.
How good was that kind of feel to block that solo and right into the center in the teeth of the Brebeuf defense and find the floor?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Sets on across. Gaddis, Poitras, little bit of a touch attack, and she gets it. Nice finesse on that strike by the senior.
Yeah, again, referencing quick fastball and changeup, that almost is another one of those changeups from Poitras. Everybody's expecting the hard hitter one, so she just soft taps it and finds a spot.
Schumacher sends it across. That's dug out by Wiegand. Now on the near side's Ford, off the block, and it falls. A kill for Kylie Ford, her first in a while. Substitutions abound, as we will see Trisler and Becker checking back in, as they have been for most of this rotation, and Trisler will take the serve. Georgia Trisler, the sophomore, standing at 5'6", sends it across, dug out by Siegel. Now Seaman on the near side, well read by North Central. Now back row attack by White, dug out by Richmond. Gaddis, Poitras, kill. Too quick. As soon as you see it's coming, it's already at your feet.
Yeah, Gaddis, too perfect. Poitras, too perfect. No defense for that.
Here's that same strike again. The quick set and strike, and it's a kill. And now a service ace off the hands of Richmond. Nope, excuse me, that was Seaman on that last strike. Delaney Seaman makes it a 20-12 game. White looking to respond, and can they get it over the net? They just barely do. Siegel with a tap into the teeth of the block, and it goes out of play for the kill.
Yeah, Siegel took, I think, just a little bit off there and went right at the blockers and got it to kind of roll off the forearm out of bounds.
Seaman sends it into the net for a service error. That will end that run, as Sophie Weber checking in for the Braves, and checking back in for the Panthers is Sydney Murray on that front line. She was a force in set number 1, has been somewhat quieted here in set number 2. Sent on across, Richmond setting up Siegel on the far side, cross court, nice dig by White. And then a mishandle at the net by Murray. You just got to laugh that one off.
Yeah, that one had so much spin on it, it was going to be really tough to try to dig and set that one up. That thing had a lot of spin on it.
Poitras sends it across and tried to set up the setter dump, but it looks as though Trisler just couldn't quite get to it, miscalculated it in the air. And the second timeout taken by Coach Boudrasang. We'll take it with him. We're in set number 2. You're watching high school volleyball on Indiana SRN.
Bertner Electric Incorporated has been proudly serving our residential and commercial customers with quality electrical repair for over 33 years. We are fully licensed and insured in electrical wiring and electrician service packages. You'll receive a competitive assessment, whether you're a homeowner or a business owner, first-time or long-time customer. We offer free estimates for any new project. Call our licensed and experienced electricians today.
We're back here at Brebeuf, where the Braves have a 23-13 lead in set number 2 here on senior night. They've already won set 1, 25-16. Looking to close this one out as well. It's really been Poitras and Siegel up the middle. On the outside, the attacks have been sublime from the Braves. North Central looking to respond. This one goes a block apparently, and it's sent back to the Brebeuf side. Siegel with a roll shot. Nice diving dig by Trisler. Now Becker on the far side. Dances off the net and falls onto the Panther side.
Just that front line, as we talked about in the pregame, has just been really spot on for Brebeuf.
And this will be set point for the Braves, looking to outdo their score from set number 1. It'll be Poitras to serve. She sends it across. Dug out by Murray. Up the middle, it's Helm. Off the block and save. And now we have a 2-touch. Yeah, it was a little bit late because it was pretty obviously a 2-touch. But it's okay. As long as you get the right call, right, Chris?
Yeah.
So now, looking up to set up Siegel, cross court. Was it touched before it went out? No. Looked like that just rolled along the entire tape of the net and went out of bounds.
Yeah, it's surprised it had that much on it to roll for a while and then still find its way out of bounds.
Gaddis to set up Siegel, and Siegel almost with the kill. Nice recovery by North Central. And now over the center line being called on North Central, and that is how the second set ends. 25-15. The Braves now leading it 2-0. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll break down all the set 2 action here on Indiana SRN.
How does a good man become even better? By working out? Or by working his way up the corporate ladder? By changing his diet? Or by changing his style? By traveling the world? Or by staying perfectly still? For 300 years, we've helped good men become the best versions of themselves through a dedicated fraternity and by taking an oath to live a life of integrity, service, and brotherly love. Men who are as committed to each other and their families as they are to our noble cause. In the end, we don't just make men better, we make them Masons. Not just a man, a Mason.
Set number 2 is in the books here at Brebeuf Jesuit Preparatory School. I'm Alex Stevens. Alongside me is Chris Simmons. Brebeuf leads 2-0 over the North Central Panthers, and it's really been a show on display by Davia Poitras and also Maddie Siegel. Really the outside hitters just commanding this one well, and the supporting cast of that Braves team has not been bad either.
Yeah, the supporting cast, I think, led by the freshman Nyjah Gaddis, the setter there, is just, I think everything that she has done pretty much has been crisp and right where they've wanted it. Every time she has set up Poitras and Poitras has gotten the kill, I've watched. Poitras is the first person to turn around and give Gaddis a great scream, yell, whatever it is. Let her know that, hey, that's right where I wanted it. It was perfect. So that's been really fun to watch, the 1-2 punch from those two.
Really, it just seems like Brebeuf is on more of the balls of their feet, whereas North Central is kind of flat-footed, I've noticed. Really, they just don't seem prepared for some of the strikes that are coming their way. They're not really moving their feet. They're not closing the door on that back end. That's what's allowing for all these cross-court strikes to find home, and really mixing it up the middle when you got a shot with Poitras or Seaman as well, really is just keeping the defense on the back of its heels, not really able to respond. Really, North Central's got to dig deep and really start trying to command this one at the front of the net and get Brebeuf to just back off the net a little bit more. They are right on top of the ball every single time.
Yeah, I think it's a great show of Brebeuf imposing their will kind of on North Central, making North Central play Brebeuf's game rather than North Central getting to play theirs. So we'll see if in this third set North Central can kind of set the tone, as you mentioned, get Brebeuf a little bit off the net, backing them up a little bit, trying to find those open spaces for these attacks. Everything they've tried, it seems, has just sailed out of bounds. They've tried the back line and the cross-court ones, and everything has kind of sailed a little bit.
Richmond gets us started in set number 3. Ford's dig goes high into the rafters, and White's dig goes into the rafters. Ford's attack finds the back line, and it was a pretty one.
Yeah, the old adage, there's no defense for a perfect offense, and that right there is a perfect strike.
So Brebeuf, like they've done the previous 2 sets, has jumped out to the 1-0 lead. Gaddis to Poitras, off the block for the kill.
See, and I think this is why this Brebeuf team is so dangerous and so good against no matter who they're playing, is they just, always seem to have that counter punch, that answer back, and they don't let it get out of hand.
Indeed they do, as Schumacher sends it across. Little tap that time, but it doesn't get over the net off the hands of Sophia Helton. It's quickly a 2-1 Braves advantage.
Yeah, and Helton just kind of shrugs that one off. She tried to set it where it could get it and couldn't get it there.
Nice dig by White to set up Ford. Roll shot, nice dig by Gaddis, but then the pass goes nowhere. I think that was one of those, you got it, I got it, nobody got it, as Seaman and Poitras just kind of looked at each other.
You read my mind. That's exactly what it was. It was you, me, no, nobody. Okay, there it is. And because, it was a great dig, but just nobody was able to corral it and get there. Nobody got to the spot after the great dig.
We're knotted at 2 as Trisler checks in and takes the serve. It's dug out. And a nice little push attack there by Poitras. That's well read by the Panthers. Sent back across the Brebeuf side, now on the North Central side. Ford on the far side. Down the sideline, and so the far official was waving her flags, indicating that Ford attack hit the antenna. So it was an attack error, and the point goes to Brebeuf. She was waving it for a little while.
Good catch, because I didn't even see her waving over there. I was too busy ping-ponging, following the ball.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how long play goes. If she's waving that flag, then there's something that has to be done about it. North Central setting up Becker. It goes off the block and dug out by Schumacher. Now Siegel on the near side. Nice dig by White. Now Helm off the block, which is dug out by Schumacher. Gaddis, center dump, sent back by Helm. And the defense was too far in front as it went over everyone's head. We're tied at 3.
Well, that's a way to beat the defense, too. If they're going to be up on all of them up as close as they are, just dump it past them.
It was a good play, no doubt about that, as Ford is back to serve for the Panthers. Schumacher digs it out. Gaddis to Siegel. Off the block for the kill. Maddie Siegel has got some kind of strike working for her. She has got a lot of kills this game.
Yeah, just keep feeding Siegel, keep feeding Poitras and mixing it up, and I think that's really what's been working today for Brebeuf.
And Poitras sends it across, dug out by White. Trisler to set up an attacking Murray, and Murray gets the kill.
Yeah, that time Murray able to get on top of that and put a little downspin on it to get it going to the ground instead of sailing on it.
Stoltz checking in on the front line as White sends it across. Dug out by the Braves. Now it's going to be a 10-foot line attack by Siegel, and she somehow gets the kill. I don't know how she got enough on that one. I thought that was a block for sure. She just kind of pushed it at the blockers, but fortune smiles upon her there, and she earns a serve out of it. North Central trying to respond. Trying to set up Murray on the far side. Cross court. Nice dig that time by Weber. And then the attack is too strong as we knotted up at 5. Checking in for North Central is Journey Moore, as well as Sophia Helton. She'll take the serve. Tied at 5 in set number 3. Brebeuf leading 2-0. Dug out by Richmond. Gaddis, a nice little push there from Frazier. Well read by North Central, though. Brebeuf another chance to respond. Robinson, and that's blocked. Blocked by the tandem of Journey Moore and Lauren Stoltz.
Yeah, and just a great block there.
No doubt about that, as North Central takes a 6-5 lead. Helton sends it across. Dug out by Siegel. Gaddis set up Robinson on the near side. Was it touch? No touch. North Central takes a 2-point advantage.
Trying to think, is that their biggest advantage tonight?
I think it matches it,
okay,
if I'm not mistaken. Stoltz to send it into the net. Well, I don't know if many kids say this still, but I would, after I hit something like that, I say I biffed it. Gaddis sends it across. Stoltz on the attack, dug out by the Braves. Now Robinson on the near side, cross court, dug out by White. Looking to set up Moore off the block for the kill. Journey Moore with the kill.
North Central has just looked really, really good here in this third set. They're mixing up their attacks, they're hitting them strong, they're hitting their spots, and they're having a great fight on the net.
Murray sends it over, dug out by Richmond. Gaddis set up Robinson off the block, and it falls for the kill. Sydney Robinson. As Poitras checks in on that front line. And Richmond's back to serve. White digs it out. Looking to set up the middle for Moore, and Moore gets the kill, a good one. Had to get out of the way of that one.
Yeah, just a strong kill. And this is by far the best set we've seen so far tonight from North Central. We'll see how Brebeuf responds.
You can see they're feeling a little bit of swagger on the front line. As Richmond can't handle the serve, it's an ace, and it's a 3-point advantage for North Central. North Central not going quietly into that good night. Lauren Stoltz serving for the Panthers. Sends it across, dug out by bit of a mishandle by Richmond again. They recover, and Poitras sends the free ball across. And now up the middle, a strong strike by Helm, but a net violation going to be called against North Central. The point going to the Braves. And I know that Coach Boudreauxing is going to say his piece, but I do believe that was the right call, Chris. It looks as though on the follow-through, Helm hit the tape of the net. So 10-8, North Central still in front. A break for the Braves.
Yeah, that's a huge break for the Braves in this one, and a couple of points swing, and we'll see if Brebeuf can, get their own rally going and get right back into this third set.
Shoemaker sends it across. Looking to set up Ford on the far side. Down the sideline for the kill. Kylie Ford, a nice strong spike right down the line. Trisler checking in. She'll take the serve. It's 11-8 North Central.
Not surprised that Ford is having a great set, and that is leading to North Central being in control of this third set.
Trisler sends it across. Dug out by Richmond. Poitras missed it, but he ends up on the North Central side and back across to Brebeuf. Now Siegel on the near side. Nice dig that time by Nia White. Now on the near side, it's Becker. Was it touched? Yes, it was. So a kill for Becker makes it 11-8 North Central, and a timeout called by Coach Hawes and the Braves. We'll take a break with them. You're watching high school volleyball on Indiana SRN.
Today's game is brought to you by Shin Technology Service Corporation. Technology is about humans and not about machines. Dave and his crew has provided 27 years of software needs. Give them a call. Shin Technology Service Corporation. You may reach him by phone at 317-545-3650 or shintechnology.com. For more information, contact Dave, 317-545-3650.
Set number 3 has been a wild one. North Central really trying to not get shut out here tonight, Chris.
Yeah, they're playing their best set far and away that we've seen tonight, and I'm not surprised that Kylie Ford has been the one leading the charge for these North Central Panthers in this third set. But I really do, you alluded to it, I really like the energy and the swagger that North Central has come to life with here in this third set.
Georgia Trisler lobs it across. Gaddis looking to set up Seaman cross court, and it's heading your way, Chris. Good kill that time by Delaney Seaman, the freshman up the middle. So many freshmen on this squad. I just lose track. I feel like I must have a mistake in my notes. As it's sent across. North Central looking to set Ford up the middle. It's blocked, but recovered by North Central. And now Murray from the back row. Too strong as she trying to dot the I there on that back line.
Yeah, just a little too much air on it, and it once again sails over that back line, and the Braves have cut the deficit to 2.
Dug out by Murray. A little bit of a confusion. They'll set up a back row attack by Becker, which goes into the net. And just like that, the lead has dwindled to 1 for North Central.
That's probably why. This is why Brebeuf takes that timeout.
Yep,
and gets right back into it.
Yeah, Coach Boudreaux wants to talk about it. He's thinking, where did all my momentum go? We were rocking the house a second ago. And they really were. As you saw, Kylie Ford was getting in on the action, which set up people like Journey Moore and Ariel Helm to really start feeling that action. And Leah Becker has been a surprising contributor, really coming out strong from the outside. But honestly, I think the unsung hero for this Panther squad, Nia White on the back line, has just been phenomenal. Really digging out some tough attacks. It's really been impressive from the 5'3" senior.
Yeah, and we knew that for North Central to compete in this third set, they were going to have to dig those out because we knew Brebeuf was going to be attacking a lot low. I've been really impressed with the play at the net as well in this set. North Central has done a great job attacking and blocking at the net this set.
Sophie Weber sends it across. North Central looking to set up Helm on the near side. It's blocked but out of play. So the lead is back to 2 for North Central. And Ford is back to serve. So that'll keep her on the back line, thankfully for Brebeuf. Gaddis set up Poitras, cross court, dug out by White off the block. Now Murray on the far side, and it finds the sideline. A good strike, that time by Sydney Murray. From the Murray family, a long-time volleyball family. (14-11). Dug out by Shoemaker. Now Siegel on the near side, and she can't get it over the net.
And just like that, a 4-point lead for the visiting Panthers after they take a timeout when Brebeuf cut it down to 1 or 2.
Ford still serving for the Panthers. Lobs it across this time, dug out by Poitras. Gaddis to set up Siegel. Good dig there from Ford. Now on the near side, that's Becker. It's dug out by Schumacher. And now Siegel has her attack blocked. Blocked by the tandem of Helm and Becker. And it is a 5-point advantage for the Panthers. Timeout taken by Coach Hawes. We'll take it with her. You're watching high school volleyball, Indiana SRN.
Your home and office make up a big part of your world. Sometimes trying to manage it all on your own can make you feel like you have the weight of the world on your shoulders. And when the weight of the world is on your shoulders, you need a strong back or two to come to your rescue and haul your stress away. You need the College Hunks. Whether it's time to clear some space for new memories, to reinvent the room around you, or to simply pack up and move into a fresh new beginning, you can count on the Hunks to bear your burden so you don't have to. Let us move you today.
Let's take a look at that last play, Chris. That phenomenal block by Becker and Helm right on the near side. That looked like mostly Helm. Becker was there in on it, so she'll get credit, but Helm really got her hand right on top of that ball. A great play.
Yeah, just again, the play at the net, offensively and defensively, I think has been one of the biggest factors in this third set for North Central.
Gaddis to set up a back row attack, which can't get over the net, and it's a 6-point advantage for the Panthers. Avoiding the dreaded shutout if they can close out this third set. It'll take a good effort from Brebeuf to get back in this. Starting with a service error from Ford might help.
Yeah, we'll see if that just opens the door just a little bit, gives a great team like Brebeuf a chance to cut into this deficit. We'll see if they take advantage.
So Poitras back to serve. Too strong. They trade service errors. On the front line, Stoltz checking in for Helm as Nia White back to serve. That's dug out by the back line of Brebeuf. Now up the middle, it's Frazier. And now North Central setting up a tap, which is well read by Siegel. Now Siegel up the middle, trying to will that one to the floor, but it's dug out nicely by North Central. Up the middle, it's Ford, but too strong.
Yeah, I think Ford knew it right away. As soon as she had it on her, going off her hand, she saw it sailing and started laughing it off right away, which is a great attitude to have in a moment like that.
Sydney Robinson checks in on the front line for Brebeuf as Siegel sends it across. Now it's Becker on the near side. A good strike by Leah Becker, the sophomore. Braves out of timeouts. North Central still has one. And now Sophia Helton, another senior, will take the serve. Dug out by Siegel. Gaddis to set up Robinson. It's a kill for Sydney Robinson, as I don't think Ford got a good read on that on the back row.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think she just kind of misjudged it. And again, this sport is just, it seems so precise. So she misjudged it by just, a little bit, and it threw her off.
Gaddis sends it across. Nice diving dig on the back line. Sent across by Moore, dug out by Siegel. Now Robinson on the near side. It's going to be a kill again for Sydney Robinson. As now you start to feel the momentum start to shift. North Central going to do everything they can to keep the boat rocking on this side of the court. As Gaddis will send it across. Looking to set up Moore on the far side, and she gets the kill. Journey Moore. Greer Frazier doing everything she can at the net to stop that one, but just enough touch on it for Moore. A 5-point advantage for the Panthers. They get a 4-point advantage after the service error by Murray. And now Poitras checking back in on the front line, trying to get her team fired up. Here on senior night for the Braves. Richmond sends it across. That's dug out. And now North Central setting up Ford, and Ford could not get a good touch on it. Attack error makes it just a 3-point advantage. The crowd is starting to get into it, and you feel the door starting to open just a little bit, Chris. Overpass sent back to the Brebeuf side. Gaddis set up a tap by Seaman, well read that time by Moore. Now Ford off the block, and she has the kill.
Ford doing what she does best, just attacking and attacking. What a wonderful attack there. Just pinballs around the Brebeuf defense as they're unable to corral that one. And it's 21-17 in favor of the Panthers.
Stoltz sends it across. That's dug out by Robinson. Gaddis, Poitras off the top of the net, but it falls.
And Poitras just again attacking on the top of the net there, where she's, just been unstoppable really tonight when she gets set up perfectly up there. It's been fun to watch.
Shoemaker sends it across. Setting up an attack that just gets over. Now sent back across, and it's just unable to be corralled near the front of the net as Helm tried to just send it back, and then Nia White couldn't clean that up. It's a 2-point advantage for North Central. And a service aces. Look out, Chris. All right, you're good.
I was ready. It was a little too far to the left. I don't want to dive with these headsets on or anything. I thought about it. I did, but a little out of my range.
21-20. The last time out of the set is taken by Coach Boudrasang. We'll take it with him. This is a good one. Don't go anywhere. You're watching High School Volleyball, Indiana SRN.
If you find yourself confronted by unwanted pests in your home or office, then you need to contact the professionals at Kim Mountain Pest Control. We offer quality pest control solutions at an affordable price. We specialize in ants and termites. We're also available to handle a variety of other pests, including roaches, fleas, and flying insects, as well as rats and mice. Don't wait until pests cause severe damage to your home or property. Contact the team of experts at Kim Mountain Pest Control today.
The last timeout of the set has been taken. 21-20. North Central in front, trying to not get shut out tonight as the Braves of Brebeuf already lead 2-0. Schumacher sends it across, and it's a service ace to tie it at 21. Ford couldn't, no, that was Moore on the front line who couldn't handle it. And you felt the momentum completely shift at this point, Chris.
Yeah, and we're tied up when North Central was leading by near 5.
Moore wants a touch on that attack. Was there? I see no indication. It's a attack error, and Coach Boudrasang is beside himself, saying there was a touch. But I saw no official signaling there was a touch out of all 4 of them. As it stands, it is a point for Brebeuf. 22-21, the Braves now lead. Sent across. Trying to set up Ford on the far side. Nice diving dig there by Richmond. Siegel for the kill.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
What a response from this young Braves squad.
I think they're showing you why they've won 17 games already this regular season, that they just won't go away.
Schumacher sends it across. And a bad set that time goes into the net, and it is match point Brebeuf. All the air has been let out of the sails of North Central as they desperately try to claw back. They have run out of room for error. White digs it out. Setting up Ford on the far side. Off the block, kept alive by Poitras. Siegel with the tap, and it falls! And that's how the night will end. A kill from Maddie Siegel ends this set. 25-21. Brebeuf wins the match 3-0. Wow. What a comeback in that set, Chris.
Yeah, and after that last timeout, they came back with a 5-0 run to close this one out and win it 3-0. They win this third set, 25-21 in the by far and away the best set from both teams that we saw tonight. What an amazing battle in this set, back and forth. That was really, really fun to watch.
Yeah, and it's just amazing that you could send these seniors out on such a high note. The regular season ending for both of these teams, and Brebeuf doing everything it can to honor its seniors. And Poitras really stood out in those first 2 sets, was really quiet in the third set. But Richmond, what a dig to keep that ball alive and respond there to make it match point on the attack by Siegel. Siegel closed this game out. She is definitely a force to be reckoned with, and only a sophomore. Really just a great set all around. I'm glad that we were able to get a great set of volleyball out of this one tonight, Chris.
Yeah, what an amazing set. I mean, just there's so much to take away from that last set for both teams, really. I mean, North Central once again proved without a shadow of a doubt that they can compete with this great Brebeuf team. North Central gave it all they had and really hung in there tooth and nail and give a lot of credit to the Panthers for a well-fought match. Brebeuf doing what they needed to do to close that third and final set out and win this one in shutout fashion to send their seniors into the postseason on the best note possible, a 3-0 win to wrap up the regular season with an 18-8 record. Wow.
You got to feel like the controversial call there towards the end that tied the game when the attack by Morse, according to the officials, sailed over the hands of the block and out of play. North Central screaming for that touch. They wanted that touch. They didn't get it. All 4 officials looked at each other. They all agreed there was no touch on that play, and as it stands, it was a point for Brebeuf, and you got to feel at that point all the momentum shifted the way of the Braves, and they never looked back from there on out.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think once that play went down the way it did and the call was made in favor of Brebeuf, they definitely took it and ran with it.
Okay. So that'll just about do it tonight. Again, the Braves take this in 3 sets, 25-16, 25-15, and 25-21. The last game of the season. The regular season's in the books, and we begin the path to Muncie. We'll be with you all along the way here on Indiana SRN. For Chris Simmons, I'm Alex Stevens. Good night, everybody.